The compulsory superannuation scheme refers to the compulsory pension system. Its performance is that the relevant laws and regulations compel employees to regularly contribute a certain proportion of funds to the compulsory pension account. The percentage of employee contributions is generally determined by the employee's salary, such as 9.5% of wages, forcing money in pension POTS to be invested. The return on investment can be withdrawn as pension expenses after the employee reaches a certain age. Our group agree with the compulsory superannuation scheme.
There is currently a superannuation saving account in New Zealand called the KiwiSaver. The KiwiSaver is operated by a number of different New Zealand government-appointed investment companies and is a voluntary investment-based retirement saving account. In Australia, there is a compulsory superannuation system. Australian law provides that employees under the age of 18 and over with a monthly pre-tax salary of more than $450, and employees under the age of 18 but working 30 hours or more per week are required to make compulsory superannuation contributions. New Zealand and Australia have similar working environment, human culture, and the compulsory superannuation system is actually a system of saving money with tax benefits. With the aging population and the increasing financial limitation of retirement, the government needs to encourage the compulsory superannuation policy.
Following the position of agreeing to a compulsory superannuation scheme, I have summarized 3 advantages of implementing it. Firstly, it covers a wider range of people. A compulsory superannuation scheme would mean that part-time workers would also be covered. Secondly, it increases insurance. Specifically, if it's a voluntary superannuation scheme, many people will not be able to save their money rationally. For example, many less educated people don't understand how much money they will need after retirement and don't have an accurate concept, leading them to save indiscriminately, which could eventually leave them with insufficient money to spend after retirement. But if a retirement policy is made compulsory, this will mean that the ratio of superannuation contributions has been calculated by professionals. So, at least, it will not lead to not having sufficient money to spend after retirement, which is equivalent to increased insurance. Thirdly, there is a certain degree of protection from inflation. If there is inflation, nominal wages also increase, so more money is contributed. But if a voluntary superannuation scheme is implemented, many people don't understand or ignore the possible problem of inflation and put the same amount of nominal money into it. It will create problems and be influenced by inflation. If a compulsory superannuation scheme is implemented, it can be offset to a certain degree when inflation comes.
In the previous part, we discussed the benefits of the compulsory superannuation scheme, and under this part, I will give the conclusions about the superannuation levy. There are 3 points that need to consider about the levy of the superannuation. Firstly, it should consider how much money the employees of the companies are willing to pay for the employees. If the standard is high, then they expected some of the employees are not willing to afford the burden to pay the superannuation and complain about the policy. Secondly, it should consider the future value of the superannuation. Because the employers will rely on the superannuation in the future value of the money should be considered, and it's difficult to calculate because of the change in the environment, and the rate needs to be flexible with the economic change. Thirdly, the government should use the superannuation levy for the correct investment, and they should be using the levy for diversified the investment to avoid the risk and ensure there are enough funds in the future.